Welcome back to Learn from the Pros. You definitely know that this year's Sinkfield Cup was won by Levon Aronian, and what we are going to do is see one of the nicest games he played there. Levon Aronian with white against Fabiano Caruana. This is the position we will observe. I just want to mention that it started out as a very solid Queen's Gambit decline, but then something happened, things went wild, and this is the current position. You can already see that Black's king is exposed after this g5 push, and also there's a lot of action going on in the center, so Black must be very careful. In this very moment, the e5 pawn is hanging, so Caruana should defend it, and the good move was rook e8, after which queen h5 could be played, and I would definitely prefer to play this position with white, but according to the computer, it's not so bad. This position is playable. What happened in the game was rook a5. This is the other way of defending the pawn, but you will see that this move has a drawback, and Aronian did spot it and will use this. Disadvantage of the move after e takes f5, knight takes f5, bishop c4 check, king g7, d5. Now, this pawn was hanging on d4, hanging with queen takes d4, knight takes d4, e takes d4, all those pieces are attacking the pawn. But after d5, you cannot jump to d4. I mean, you can jump to d4, but you are going to lose this knight. So this doesn't matter that you made this nice knight fork. Queen takes e5 is a check. And that's the problem with rook a5, that after d5, the connection between the rook and the e5 pawn is cut. So this pawn is hanging with a check. You have to do something about it, and you have to lose a tempo once again defending this pawn. Rook e8 was the move in the game, but after knight e4, you are like, knight e4? Letting Black play knight d4, winning a rook or winning an exchange with this knight fork? Yes, that's what Aronian played. He wants to sacrifice that rook. Here, his idea was queen h5, giving up that rook just completely, not even capturing the knight. After knight takes c2, white is a whole rook down. But in this position, he has an extremely strong attack. Now he's threatening mate in 2 with queen f7, queen h7, or the other way around. So Black has to defend his h7 pawn. He played bishop f5, that we will see now what happens after bishop f5, and if I just want to show that if rook h8, well, it's just such a sad move if you have to play rook h8, such a passive move. Simply rook f1 would cut the king, threaten mate in a few moves, and Black is lost. Bishop f5 seems more promising for Black. At least you defend the h7 pawn with a developing move. The bishop was not doing anything on c8. But after the same move, rook f1, you bring the rook as well to the attack. Now, if bishop g5, which looks like a good defending move because you threaten the queen, and if the queen goes away, then no troubles. Rook f7 check, giving up the other rook as well. It wasn't enough to sacrifice one rook, now you sacrifice the other two. So if bishop takes f7, then important first, queen h7, not queen f7, because if queen f7, the king has the h6 square. Careful about that. So the move is queen takes h7 check. If king f8, then queen f7 is mate, so the king has to go to f6, and now knight e4 check. The only move is king e7, and here, very important, the queen is well placed, the knight is well placed, but what about this bishop? It's not attacking yet. So let's open the diagonal for that bishop, d6 check, just to have this bishop attacking as well. White only has 3 pieces, but all the 3 are attacking. So in this moment, if c takes d6, then queen takes f7 is mate. Beautiful mate, the queen and the pawn are taking away the escaping squares of the king. And if, well, queen takes d6, then you just give up your queen. And in this position, it's not just that we won the queen, but soon it's gonna be a mate anyway. So after rook f1, you cannot play bishop g6, but then what can you do? You should defend that bishop. Queen f6 was what Caruana played, and here there are several moves that are winning. He can either capture capture the rook, he can play knight e6, but what, sorry, I'm making the wrong move order. Knight e6 is what Aronian played, and his idea is that although there were several winning moves in that position, he simply wants to go for the most simple one, to say it that way, simply simple. This is the simplest way, because after rook takes e6, rook takes f5 is an intermediate move attacking the queen. Queen g6, now he could win the queen with rook g5, but then black would still have two rooks for the queen. His idea was that he's gonna go for this endgame. So he regained the material that he sacrificed before, and he's got just a pawn up. But this pawn up is an extremely strong pass pawn, and that's just perfectly enough to win the game. So he didn't need to give a brilliant mate. This was, for him, the simplest way to win, and that's why he exchanged queens, that's why he went for this endgame, because this is the easiest win, and you don't have to look for amazing mates. This is the most efficient one. Knight d4, e7, of course we want to promote this passed pawn. Rook a8, now after rook takes e5, it's not just that we have two pawns up, but this rook is supporting the passed pawn. Rook e8 had to be played. Rook e4 attacking this knight. Now knight c6 doesn't have because of bishop b5 pinning the knight, and luckily, well, it's in the position after bishop takes c6, we protect the rook, so this is a piece up. Rook e4, knight f5 was played in the game, and here still a beautiful move. It doesn't matter that there are no queens on the board. Chess can be still so beautiful in endgames as well. Bishop e6, so if knight takes e7, then bishop d7 wins the knight. And if he plays knight d6, that's what happened in the game, then bishop d7, knight takes e4, bishop takes e8, king f6. It almost seems like black made it to capture this pawn, but bishop g6 attacks the knight and frees the pawn square, so you either promote the pawn or you capture the knight. That's why Caruana resigned. I love this game because it seems that in the moment when white gives up the rook, there's no mate yet, and you just sacrifice a rook, believing in your attack. Of course, Aronian calculated everything, and he knew that he's gonna win. And it is justified that he's winning, because you can see that there are three attacking pieces right now, and later he could even open the bishop's diagonal, while the only defending piece here is black's bishop. That's not enough to protect such an exposed king. Thank you for watching this clip, and see you in another one. Bye bye.